Hi and welcome to the Science Fantasy Experience and to a look back at February 2022. Anything that I've picked up, anything that I've opened and anything else along the way. So first up I opened Kerak from Valor Action Force and oh my god, this guy is wicked. He's pretty much the ultimate villain from the wave. I'm going to say he's the sleeper hit, really. Don't get me wrong, the Sarge is wicked, and the Swarm with the extra accessory pack, they're standouts. So you'd think this one was perhaps a little bit less because it's not got, you know, perhaps the persona of the Sarge or the lurid translucent plastic, but it's just, Kerak has got something else. He's just an incredible bad guy. The muscle definition on this guy and the helmet, he's sinister, and he just looks, you know, half military, half merc, half bad guy. The face sculpt is sublime. The extra bit of like paint apps around his eyes where it kind of darkens, the definition on the beard. This guy he's lovely. He's so incredible. Obviously his sheepskin waistcoat is removable, and this is something that I didn't realise. His cavalry logo, the garrison logo on the back, yeah, amazing. Tons of hands. I didn't realise that there were so many hands. You got trigger hands, open hands, fisted, holstered knives, pistols, tightly in. Just beautiful. The most exciting toy line for a long time. It's just the next level of action figures at a very good price point. Stand. Why Classified have not put stands with their figures is beyond me. It's just that added bonus and just helps with posing. But yeah, I had to open him. I was always going to open him. I just obviously had tons going on. But yeah, that was the start of the month. I just couldn't help myself. He fits it so much better. I know I promised it to Zartan, but I'd be foolish to have not have had a go to see if it worked or not. And yes, it looks incredible. It's such a good bike, and it really suits this character's profile, I feel. Maybe they'll get another bike in Classified so Zartan can have perhaps a more dirt bike scrambler, and Kerak can have this. Yeah, he just absolutely fits it perfectly. Speaking of Action Force, Kapow got back in some extra stock, and I deeply regretted not pre-ordering a weapons pack. It was just foolish, realising how good the figures were prior to getting them, and then obviously everywhere was out of stock. But yeah, I grabbed weapons pack. That's what you get inside: blast effects, couple of handguns, some full artillery, a hatchet, But you also get an extra marine type hat. So the Sarge could get a completely different look. And I learnt today these are actually called a cover. So yeah, that's awesome. I can give the Sarge a slightly different look, although I love his signature hat. Tons of weapons, absolutely loads. Gold. I have no idea who I'm going to put these with apart from a few. But when Wave 2 comes, which I am ridiculously excited about. I was excited for Wave 1 and I just kind of cherry picked, but I'm way more involved with Wave 2. But yeah, a hatchet for Kerak, so if I don't keep him on that bike, I'm going to dual wield him with 2 melee weapons. But in that pack you get an extra shotgun, and it's the perfect shotgun for Flint. I gave Flint the sawn-off shotgun from the Punisher bike pack, but this is just perfect for that kind of look that I want to get with Flint. When it comes to Flint, I want to get him as the 1980s Action Force comic look, by removing his extra armor and giving him his signature long shotgun weapon. Stoked. I'm so glad that extra stock came in, and I've known now not to be as irresponsible about pre-orders. So, the middle of February, I decided to pick up a couple of Marvel Legends figures. And to be honest, I really had no intention of kind of getting any more Marvel Legend figures until, you know, there was a Spider-Man villain on a retro card released or revealed that I kind of would be interested in, something like Doc Ock. Man, I'm after a deluxe sized Doc Ock on a retro card. But I'd been watching selected episodes from the 1990s X-Men cartoon, and I just thought, my obsession, I'm going to call it an obsession, with picking up toy representations of 1990s characters is not ebbing. So after watching Weapon X Lies and Videotape, my favourite episode, one of my favourite episodes, my favourite episode of all time in that run, which I might add is like 20 minutes of incredible storytelling, so dynamic, well animated and pure action. A one-off episode character that was my first introduction, that episode, to Maverick. And what a revelation this guy is. At first, when I looked at it to order it, I was just like, yeah, am I in for this? I don't know. I love the character. Having read it later on in life, reading up way more about the Weapon X program. But yeah, he is absolutely stunning. I had no idea that it's pearlescent plastic, and then his face sculpt is all smooth plastic, really defined hair. They've really captured parts of the animated show and his comic representation. He just exudes the 1990s dual wielding ridiculous weapons, and he just looks so tech. He's actually a little bit larger than your standard kind of run-of-the-mill Marvel Legend figures, and he's just got so much detail. It's so 90s, that way of portraying kind of metal or armor or skin that's metal. But yeah, he's all armoured up. But then little bits of leather, just detail all over. And he was an absolute bargain. I got him for like 10 quid cheaper than what he was retailing. I got it from like the same guy that I got the other figure from, which I will get onto now. Because if you think this guy is 90s, then the guy to trump him is Cable. I'm going to say Cable is one of my all-time favourite anti-heroes. I don't know, he's just, yeah, he's an X-Man, an X-Force character, but he just absolutely exudes the 90s pouches. What they did in the 1990s is put pouches everywhere, and they have nailed his look from both, again, just like Maverick from the comic and the TV show. Early episodes, he doesn't have his cybernetic arm, he's just, his arm's white, and then when you see him in the later episodes, he's then got the techno, organic, cybernetic arm. Whether it's a cybernetic arm or whether it's the virus, you leave that up to your own choice, your own headcanon, if you will. Wicked head sculpt, flashing eye. What I love is the headpiece is actually kind of overly proportioned. That's quite small in the comic and the cartoon, but obviously because everything else is ridiculously big on this, they've kind of upscaled that to kind of make it fit. Ridiculously sized gun. His normal gun, which is my favourite gun, then he's got one holstered. And he's huge. He's such a big Marvel Legend figures. He gets just a little bit more height and tankiness. He's tonk compared to Maverick, but Maverick's a kind of an athletic build. But if you compare him against another similar one, if you look at Forge, again another one with cybernetic arms and a future warrior, Forge gets dwarfed. When I think about it, and I've put these on display together, I've inadvertently made another trifecta, a trifecta of futuristic 1990 warriors that just exude X. X-Factor, Weapon X, and X-Force. All together. Man, I love a trifecta. Throughout the majority of February, I was actually very ill. I got COVID for the first time. You know, I've not had it since it came out, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very ill. Obviously self-isolating and not going outside. So when I was free and testing negative, I knew that come near the end of the month I was going to go out on a toy hunt, and I did. And it was successful, obviously. I grabbed myself a McFarlane Warhammer 40k big mech orc knob with shooter and power claw out in the wild. I was going to pre-order one, but there it was, sitting on the shelf. And what a behemoth this guy is. He's so heavy I can like barely hold him. Before we have a proper look at him, I'm going to show you the box, because the box is ridiculous. It's like this big. It's too big. I don't want this amount of plastic and cardboard in the world. It's too much. It's just far too much. But as you can see, that's that's how it comes. But what you do get when you get a box of such size, you obviously get the incredible Warhammer artwork, and then you get some pretty tasty toy photography just to show you how intense the figure is. I don't think my camera picks up how good the figure is because it's covered in a wash. There's tons of dry blushing and chipping and all the good stuff that comes with, you know, smaller painted miniatures. And then on the back, on the side even, you just get a real up close shot of his face where you can see the definition of all the face, the sinew, the red eyes, the dirty teeth, or tooths, if you will. Yeah, too big, but obviously incredible. But yeah, the figure is awesome. I'm amazed I saw it in the wild, that's for sure. Obviously, I needed a companion piece for my ultramarine, and this guy literally is like double the size. It's so big, but that's in true Warhammer form. The mega knobs were always the biggest of the orcs, done in the goth kind of standardized orc style. What I will say though is he is lacking in paint apps. When you look at some of the detail, obviously none of the gun is painted with the electrics or the wiring. There's a little bit on the backpack, and then some of the glyphs aren't painted either, which it's fine to display, and I'm super happy with it, just as I was with that. I think they could have done more, but the flip side to that, or the double-edged sword, is now it's incredibly customizable, and you could add as much or as little as you wanted to it with Citadel paints. You could extra washes, you could change the skin tone, you could fully prime it and go for a completely different clan, Evil Suns, Bad Moons, Snakebites, whoever you wanted, because it's like painting a larger, much larger miniature, like painting an orc vehicle, that's for sure. And it's something that I'm now debating to do in the summer. It's always easier to paint in the summer because of the heat, and paint dries quicker. I didn't want to paint that guy. He's perfect as is, because Ultramarines or Space Marines, they look tidy. But with an orc, they're grimy and messy and paint chipped, scuffed up. As I said, I'm debating it, and the reason why I'm debating it is my concern is that if you do too much of it, it may lose the aspect of being an action figure first. The whole reason why I wanted to get the McFarlane versions of these is because they are action figures. I've had miniatures throughout, you know, 2 different points in my life, when I was a child and as an adult. I don't desperately need any more miniatures or to paint as much. So I'm thinking about just going pure action figure, but maybe a little bit here and there, that's for sure. But yeah, he's great, and for the price that I paid, you know, I don't often talk about prices. I will do if it's a bargain, or just to let you know that if you hunt, they're out there. If I grab the box again, you'll see that, if that will pick it up, $39.99 for that figure. I don't think it's a 40 quid toy, just because the lack of paint apps, and it was a little bit loose. But for $24.99, I'm going to be picking up McFarlane figures all day, every day, if they're at that sort of price point. That's a lot of toy and a lot of potential for 25 quid. I guess there's other things to talk about. Where if you move the legs, they're on pistons, so that actually moves. They are fully posable and hold it, even though they are incredibly heavy. It can hold the weight of different poses. If you paint it, you might not be able to pose it as much. Yeah, I'm super stoked to get it. It's my jam. I love orcs. February's haul and a few bits in between. We're 2 months into the year and the toys are just getting better and better. A whole ton of reveals. Obviously we haven't been able to get toy fairs in terms of New York, Tokyo, all those ones that you see the big reveals. So they're just dropped here and there. Luckily we get the Hasbro Fan Fridays, Fan Wednesdays, incredible G.I. Joe reveals, Super 7, Mandora. I didn't expect that at all. Retro stuff. As I said in my previous haul, it's going to be one hell of a year. Valaverse, Wave 2A and 2B, you know, 2A shipping earlier than expected, which is incredible after Wave 1 was a little bit delayed to get 2 quicker. 2B coming in May. All the ones that Super 7 stuff like Groon and Mumra that have been delayed for ages, they're going to be out soon. I'm looking forward to this year. I'm probably going to say that on every monthly haul, aren't I? And on that bombshell, I've been Rudy's to Sue. And always remember, it's as much about play as it is display. Thanks for watching.